Flavia Chambers, your host for Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're coming to you from Mandeville Villa, a villa snugged neatly into the seaside village of Mount Irvine right here in Tobago. It's the embodiment of charm and a perfect stop-in while we update you on some of the major events and stories happening right here in Tobago. All you have to do as usual is grab a snack, sit back and relax as we bring you the sights and sounds of the island along with the latest details. So we're about to get started with this week's headlines. Tobago is back at the World Travel Market with a bang. The island is ready for business and making up for time lost during the pandemic. We also hit the trail, the Man and the Biosphere Art Trail in Northeast Tobago, that is, as more art is commissioned to bring awareness to the importance of protecting the environment. A special ceremony returns to help parents who have experienced the loss of an infant begin to heal. And later, we hear from a Tobago-born and bred author who shares her COVID experience to the benefit of children. We have all these stories and more for you when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Do stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. In our first story, we leave the comfort of this lovely villa for just a few minutes to take you to London, the Excel Exhibition Centre to be exact, for the 43rd edition of the World Travel Market. Over 51,000 participants and more than 5,000 exhibitors from 182 countries and regions, including Tobago, turned up to reconnect, rebuild and innovate after the impact of COVID. We'll tell you what Tobago has to offer in this story. Have a look.
Love affair, an intense enthusiasm or liking for something. Tobago, the capital of paradise. Put the two together and we understand your love affair for our 116 square miles of untouched beauty. That is Tobago. And according to Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, every love affair needs to be infused with freshness to keep the romance alive. And that's exactly what's being done by Team Tobago at World Travel Market 2022.
Currently in Tobago, construction has started on a new airport terminal. And when that terminal is completed, it will be one of the largest within the Caribbean region and will be able to facilitate all of you and tons more. You heard about all of the new airlift arrangements that we are currently planning, and we are preparing for you. Secondly, we can finally announce that the Manta Lodge Hotel that you have heard about from about 5 years ago is finally ready for delivery.
Honorable Augustine says more sweets can only make the Tobago love affair sweeter. But what's being created is a product that's superior to anywhere in the world.
We have development starting. The build project has started for the Elephant Tree Resort that's happening up in Tobago East, just downstream of the Argyle Waterfall, sandwiched between two rivers and the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. Construction has begun there. I can also tell you that a new 5-star hotel, I'm not at liberty to give the name, but they are about to start construction in June 2023 at the Kilgwin Bay area.
And there are also exciting new pillars on which the Tobago offering is being rebuilt upon, which include exponential and event tourism.
We're excited to welcome our Tobago Jazz Experience once again next year in 2023, and we'll be excited to announce our headliners very soon as we are finished with World Travel Market. So that I want you to remember that you have to tell a friend about Tobago.
The Tourism Secretary says Tobago is also unearthing the treasures of the island, which will take visitors on a journey of rediscovery. She says our cocoa industry is also being revitalized. You see, Tobago love. A Tobago love.
And we look forward to see you in Tobago sometime, anytime. Just jump on a flight and get there anyhow you can.
Now at this time we head northeast Tobago. This is where art and environmental awareness meet on the island. People are now enjoying the splendor and the talent generated on the Man and the Biosphere Art Trail in villages across the island's Man and the Biosphere Reserve. Omadara Mills tells us what's behind this initiative in this next story. Take a look.
Large printed artworks by various Tobago-based artists are now added attractions throughout communities in northeast Tobago. The area has been a UNESCO Man Under the Biosphere Reserve since 2020. Following the launch of the art trail in Bell Garden some weeks ago, other printed pieces were recently unveiled to the public. They are now displayed in the northeast communities of Roxborough, Betsy's Hope, Delaford, Spearside, Charlotteville, Lance for Me, Bloody Bay, and Palo-Tavere. The Art Trail initiative was spearheaded by the Environmental Research Institute of Charlotteville, ERIC, with support from other organizations like the Tobago House of Assembly. Many believe it's a great opportunity for the creative sector.
The artists and the work that they produce is an essential element of that rich culture that we have in Northeast Tobago. So I think it's quite appropriate that we give the artists the kind of exposure and so on, right, that will help them to generate sustainable benefits and so on in the context of this Man the Biosphere program.
It's a good way to use up my time and a good way to learn how to paint.
I feel proud of him. And I think it's a good initiative, especially for young artists.
I find it is a very, very good gesture to have this kind of trail on the island. You know, it will inspire the upcoming artists, you know, to drive around the communities and see paintings. You know, that will give them that encouragement to pursue their dream.
It's indeed a pleasure to be selected for this, art trail, because it's a way of, expressing yourself as an artist, and as well as, bridging that gap between understanding the importance of the environment and the role that it has to play within society.
The 5 paintings in Palo-Tavere are part of the art trail. They were commissioned by the Palo-Tavere Village Council thanks to a grant the organization received from the UNDP. Eric was at the consulting agency on the project. They were done by Lance for Me-based artist Jason Ned.
I really love painting, and I am glad to be a part of this initiative. It gives a lot of influence to the other young people in the community, right? As the work was being done, we have a lot of the youths coming forward asking and wanting to be a part. So I hope that it serves as an influence to the other young people also in the community.
I think it fosters a sense of pride in who we are and what we do, right? The things that we think of as mundane and everyday. It's an opportunity to actually see yourself basically from another perspective, from an external perspective.
The unveiling of the art pieces coincided with the celebration of the inaugural International Day for Biosphere Reserves. In addition to the artworks in various northeastern communities, land and marine-based sculptures like the one done by artist Tommy Roberts are part of the plan for this art trail experience. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
From art to culture, we take a moment to look back at Tobago's first solo carnival, which was crime and incident-free. That's just one of the pros coming out of the inaugural event. Here are some of the highlights of the festival in this update from Tourism Secretary Councillor Tashia Burris.
A movie, a dream lit. Those are some words used by many to describe Tobago's inaugural carnival after the curtains came down at the end of October. And the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Councillor Tashia Burris, says it was a labor of love which was successfully executed in just about 8 months.
One of the things that we put out in the space recently was the projected cost or what the THA was planning to spend for this carnival. And I'm pleased to report that the THA would not incur the 17.5 million that we had initially anticipated that we would spend for this carnival. One of the main reasons for that is that there were some elements of the budget that we weren't able to execute this year. So that is where the cost savings, a lot of cost savings would be realized.
Councillor Boris says the bulk of the carnival spend was done through the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited and the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited. She adds that marketing was a critical component to the success of the event. And what about feedback?
The reviews that I've heard from our visitors who played mass with our mass bands in Tobago, some of them have indicated it's the best mass experience they've ever had. And in our first year, I think that is a huge compliment to have when you talk about persons who came to Tobago who would normally play mass in Trinidad or play mass in Miami or play mass in Notting Hill or Caribana or Labor Day, these larger carnivals across the world, to come to Tobago and talk about the fact that they were embraced from day one by the mass band. So that means the customer service was on point.
The Tourism Secretary says Carnival is a serious economic activity that each Tobagonian has the opportunity to own and become a part of.
One of the things that was very telling for me was finding out that on average, an international visitor to Tobago spends at least 11,000 TT dollars, and that is per visitor. So when you look at what could possibly be the numbers for a Tobago carnival that may have welcomed in the region of about 30,000 visitors over that period, you're talking about, even if you take very basic numbers and say that everybody spent $3,000, let's just use $3,000 as an example. If you extrapolate $3,000 multiplied by 30,000 visitors, you're talking about $90 million. And that is very, very basic.
Post-mortem sessions will be hosted to reveal any shortcomings from Tobago's first solo carnival.
Coming up next, we've got highlights from a very special ceremony held to support families who've experienced the loss of an infant. We'll tell you more about it right after this break. Stay with us. Mandeville Villa has got the word charm written all over it. It features 5 bedrooms along with 6.5 bathrooms. 2 wings on the upper floor contain 2 bedrooms each, and the 5th is located on the ground floor. It also sports a large games room with a full-size pool table and a table tennis board, as well as an air-conditioned gym to keep you active. And when you're ready for the outdoors, the landscaped garden leads right to the neighboring Mount Irvine Golf Course. Of course, Mandeville Villa has all the amenities and safety features to make your experience here a very memorable one. The loss of a baby or infant can be a harrowing experience. On the island, there's an organization doing all it can to help those who experience loss and to sensitize the public about the importance of dealing with this trauma. Umudara Mills tells us about the organization's activities during Baby and Infant Loss Awareness Month in this next story. Listen up.
Sherlan McPherson Jr., twins Sarah and Sarai, King David Potts, Angel Johnson, Ezekiel Lyons, Jason Melville, and Sapphire Faith. These are a few of the babies and infants gone but not forgotten. They and many others were remembered at this year's International Wave of Light ceremony held by the Zafiri Foundation at Scarborough General Hospital. It's the 3rd year the foundation is publicly raising awareness about the trauma Tobago families face after losing a child. Supporters at the ceremony say there's much need for this event.
You know, it makes you aware of what is happening out there, and that there are people out there, you know, that who need such awareness to bring us to that place of understanding that there is hurt and pain out there, and we need to come together to support, you know, such people.
I think what Zafiri Foundation is doing is really important for moms and dads, siblings, relatives, because I really believe we are
always dealing with traumatic situations, especially infant loss groups for it. I really hope that it can grow even larger, throughout the both islands and even regionally, so that we can bring more awareness and sensitivity to it.
The Wave of Light ceremony started 20 years ago in the UK and the US. This year's candle lighting activity was done under the theme Stepping Stones. Makeda Grace started a Zafiri Foundation after losing her unborn several years ago. She says support groups like hers are vital to many.
You can't just get up a morning and lose a baby and expect to go back to normal reality tomorrow. No, it takes baby steps. Hence the reason why the theme for this year in pregnancy loss is Stepping Stones. So each step that you take, you know that you're not alone in this journey, and it gives them an avenue to know that they're not alone, and that by sharing and hearing different stories, they could use information from different persons as to how they would have coped after the loss.
The foundation facilitated an online session with a psychologist for its members. It provided the counseling they need to begin to heal. An awareness walk from Shore Park Complex to the Scarborough General Hospital also helped to sensitize the public about pregnancy and infant loss. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Nicole Thomas, the 2022 Tobago Carnival Calypso Monarch, is proud to celebrate her successful defense of the title. Today, she's sharing her experience as the competition returned following a hiatus, of course, due to COVID-19. She has plans to help grow the art form. Josanne Brassi tells us more.
Tobago Calypso Monarch Nicole Thomas is thrilled after recently winning the title. She says her aim was to be relevant and to captivate her audience.
I wanted to do a calypso that was timely and would really captivate the audience. So I spoke to my writer and we came up with Carnival is We. Carnival is We is a composition that really tells of the authenticity of Carnival, where it originated, how our ancestors, how we need to pay homage to our ancestors for how they molded our culture.
Nicole says her focus was on depicting the true meaning of Carnival to the people of Tobago. She wanted to ensure her vision for the song unfolded. For her, winning was just the icing on her cake. This win, she says, was special.
The whole response, I felt as though I won the Miss Universe. I've been in interviews back to back. I don't know if it's because of the timing of the song, but I'm getting a lot of great response and compliments. So I want to say thank you to Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago on the whole.
Nicole has also won the Tobago Windward Calypso Monarch title 11 times, and she's an 8-time semi-finalist in the National Calypso Monarch competition. She's got advice for Tobago's emerging calypso talent.
Going out and performing and doing your best, that is all we can ask for. Don't study the prize money. Study about contributing to the art form and developing yourself.
Nicole is also urging Tobagonians to support their culture. She believes the industry will only grow and improve when persons participate and add value. She also wants to see more done to assist the island's talent.
I think greater collaboration with TUCO and culture and all the stakeholders to really understand what it takes to prepare for a competition, what is really needed as, let's say, the cash prize, what's needed to help the artists develop in terms of recording and putting their songs out there so that they wouldn't even stay in the Tobago space, that they would go further to Trinidad and we could travel.
Nicole says she's now recognized a lot more everywhere she goes. She's now a 6-time Tobago Calypso Monarch after successfully defending her 2020 title. With her 2022 triumph, she also marks 19 years as a Calypso competitor. I'm Josanne Brassi for Let's Talk Tobago.
Eliminating domestic violence and abuse has always been the mission of the NGO Women of Substance. This time around, the organization focused on empowering girls from Tobago secondary schools in recognition of International Day of the Girl Child and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have highlights from the opening day as well as feedback from some of the young participants from Amadara Mills.
It is our first girls symposium and it's going to be an annual event. We do the boys symposiums where we go to the schools, so we intend to engage the schools and the students more, because the important thing is creating the awareness, so persons know, our young people know what domestic violence and abuse is and what the red flags are and what can be done if they find themselves in a situation. We want girls to speak out. A lot of them are on social media, and we want them to also speak out boldly and bravely on those platforms. We want girls to speak out against domestic violence and abuse. We want them to use their voices, basically. We are so used to hearing little girls must be heard, seen and not heard. We want to change that narrative. We want to encourage the girls to speak, use their God-given voices.
I like the fact that it was generation friendly and that they made it so that even the younger ones within the mix were able to interact and get different experiences and learn different things throughout the event itself.
I found this event was informative. It raised awareness to girls and showed us we need to be perfect in our own way. We are melanin queens and we deserve to be treated right.
I liked how all the ladies who were a victim of domestic violence, I like how they were brave enough to speak about their experience.
Yes, I think you all should have more sessions like these because it's very informative for young ladies to learn. All of them had a motivating aspect in it. My favorite one was Miss Universe, and how she did it and stuff.
I came here as a presenter, but I felt so empowered through all different panelists, the words of inspiration, a reminder that we do have voices and we need to occupy these spaces. I think these platforms need to be invested in more because it's where the site or the ground for where young women are going to be able to flourish and grow and nurture their God-given potentials.
I think it was very relevant, timely, and a fantastic way of transmitting not only information but values and that these young women can take to help them to build their lives and their future.
We have to take another break, but do not go away. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Oh, Tobago, son of the soil. My name is Devon Stewart and you're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
Hi, I'm Kirsten. My name is Onika. I'm Kamara Lani. I am Catherine. My name is Shadi. And we're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
The impact of COVID-19 is still being felt. Some people have looked for lessons and opportunities brought by the pandemic, including one Tobago-born attorney whose challenges inspired her to become a children's author. Here's more.
She watched her 4-year-old son struggle with limited face-to-face interaction during the pandemic. This experience propelled Iana Del Darlington Jordan Benjamin to become author of the book I Am Well. She says a lack of communication between parent and child can result in mental health issues. In extreme cases, it can even lead to suicide. Iana says proper parent-to-child communication is critical to the well-being of children. Writing this book is her way of contributing to the improvement of parent-child relationships in the 21st century.
It's a mental health book. And again, because of COVID and the lack of social interactions that I saw in my own experience with my family, especially for young kids, I saw that there was that need to inspire them through words, right? And then also when they are healthy, their interactions with other kids will be healthy, and therefore that would impact our world eventually.
Iana says once children are mentally fit, they will inspire others to produce a ripple effect that will strengthen social interactions and inspire other kids to do well. Her book was officially published on August 1st, 2022. It's now available online on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles and at Trinidad and Tobago booksellers.
I am going to do a book tour in the United States, where we're originally based. And of course, because of my connections to Trinidad and Tobago, specifically Tobago, I absolutely want to do a book tour in Tobago as well. And of course, introduce it. I want to also donate a few copies to our Scarborough Library.
Iana says she credits her illustrator Jeannie Joni for the beautiful design of her book cover. The author says she didn't realize how demanding the publishing world is. She says the experience showed her that there's a lot more to becoming an author than just putting pen to paper.
I was writing mantras for my son. His name is Channing. And I was like, you know what? I can actually codify this and put it in book form so he can have it and he can read it on his own when he's older, right? But then I was like, okay, let me look into getting it published, right? And then it went down this whole rabbit hole of, oh, you need ISBN numbers and you need to try to get it onto Amazon and try to get it onto Barnes & Noble, or you can actually go through Random House or one of those large publishers, but then they can reject a manuscript and the length of time for them to read and edit a manuscript. So it was a whole process that I had no awareness about.
Iana is urging aspiring authors to make Google their best friend. She says proper research will provide all the information you need to become self-published. She says it took her 10 years to get this first book published. Iana believes you can do it too. Her advice is just start writing, get a manuscript, and from there, the sky's the limit. I'm Josanne Brassi for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we've come to the end of yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you for watching. Please email us with your comments or queries about the program, and be sure to visit our website, like our Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more on today's location, Mandeville Villa, you can contact the Villa's manager at 786-8731. From our house to yours, I'm Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and fantastic week. As we go, we leave you with a montage of Tobago's visit to World Travel Market 2022.
Who is it? You